Hi, thanks for joining today's CAD lesson. In today's tutorial, we are diving deep into detailed drawings in Autodesk Inventor. I'll walk you through everything from editing the sheet and title block to manual and automatic dimensioning, also how to project your views and much more. If you would have any comments, questions, or concerns, contributions as well, you can leave them down in the comment section below. I would respond to them as soon as possible. Let's begin with today's exercise. We begin by getting a worksheet. To do that, like we would do if we were creating a part or an assembly, type Ctrl+N or new up here. Now we are faced with a number of sheet templates. You can use these arrows to drag it open if you don't see all of your sheet templates. The first set of sheet templates under the matrix are used for creating parts. The second set of sheet templates are for creating assembly. The third set are for creating drawings. So it says drawing, create an annotated document. The template you pick depends on the size of your part, the industry standards, the measurement unit, the projection method, and the file format. Now let's go through them. So ANSI is the American standards. We have the BSI, the British. DIN is the German standards. The GB is the Chinese. We have the GOST. I've forgotten what that is. The ISO is the international standards, and the JIS is the Japan standards. I usually stick with ISO since they are international or global, and also it's in millimeters. Now the choice is between DWG and IDW. DWG is the drawing, IDW is inventor drawing. I like picking the DWG because it is cross-compatible with other CAD softwares like Fusion 360. Now we know the sheet template we have to pick. Let's just click on that and create. Now this is the interface for drawing. Let's go through them together. On the top here, we have some common tabs here like we would have in part or assembly, but the ribbon looks a little bit different. We'll go through them. Also the model browser. Now let's see what we have here. This is the drawing number. You can change it if you want to. I'm sure yours will be a drawing one, which is fine. I closed my first one. We can click on the plus sign next here. We see some drawing resources into the sheet format, the borders, the title block, the sketch symbol, and then we have the AutoCAD blocks. Let me suppress this. And what we are interested in here is the sheet. Let's click on that, right click and choose edit sheet. Here we get to edit our sheet. Now we can change the sheet name if we want to. Also the size of the sheet. So let's drop down. We see a number of sizes here. You can also customize your own size. So once you click on that, you can specify the height and the width, but we won't change the size. We'll maintain A3. Also, if you have revisions for this sheet, you can state that here. And also the text property, we can't change that. But here we can change the orientation of the sheet. If we want it portrait, if we want it landscape, we would maintain the landscape. And also the placement of the title block, we can use these dots here to change the placement, but we would maintain the lower right corner. If you also want to exclude from count or exclude from printing, you can specify that here, but everything is fine. We would maintain the default settings and OK. Here, before I fill in my title block, I like to bring in the part from which I'm going to create the detailed drawings of. To do that, we click on base up here, and here at the file, just click on this icon, open an existing file, and locate wherever you have the file from which you want to create the detailed drawings of. There it is for me. You can choose any file part you have and open. Now there I have it placed here. You can place other views, but let's just right click and OK for now. You can use the dotted lines once it turns red to just click and drag your part in place. Now let's turn our attention to the title block. We want to fill in the details here. To do that, let's click on the ISO here, right click and choose edit definition. There we have our title block. We can edit it now. You can modify the dimensions here if you want. Let me show you how that is done. So I'm going to change this width here of this particular cell. Just double click on that and type in 50. Let's check that. I'll also change this to 40. I'll check that and that as well to 40 and check. Autodesk Inventor has given us sections to fill. Here it says we should put in the person that designed this. That is going to be the author. And here we put the person that checked the work and also the person that approved the date, the part number. How to fill in these details is what we want to do now. Click on File up here. Let's locate iProperties. Now let's click on Summary. And here we can put in the title of this particular part. I'm going to type Spacer. And the design by is the author. So under author, let me type the person that designed this as Card by Nana. For the checked by, let's click on the project tab or even the status. Checked by will be here. We'll type the person that checked as NYSS. We want to also check the date, so the date will appear. And the person that approved it as well, I'm going to type PAS. Let me drag this out of the way so I see the other details. The date would be given by Autodesk Inventor. Here I'm going to put a logo. I'll show you how that is done. And then for the part number, let me drop down the custom or even the project rather. And for part number, I'm going to type 1 into bracket 1. Here it says the revision. So revision number also, let me just do 3. And for number of sheets, that will also be determined by Autodesk Inventor. Now let's apply this and close and see how that looks. So let's finish it and say yes. We have those details in here. Autodesk Inventor also gave us some extra cells to put in our own details. Let's see how that is done before we put in the image. To fill in these cells, let me get a good view. So double click your scroll mouse button. Let's go back into the title block ISO, right click on that and choose edit definition. Now let me drag and even zoom in. We are going to use the text command up here, so you can just click on that and click inside the cell you want to place the text. So there we go. And now it opens this dialog box. You can type the text. Let me just even put card. You can edit this text. You can change the size, the type, and color as well. You can center, just fill in those details here if you think you need them. And we can OK. Notice that the text is still active, so I can place another text here. Let's just click and type in millimeters just so we know our measurements are in millimeters, and would also OK. Now we can dimension this text as well. You can right click and OK for now. Pick the dimension command. If you want to center this, you can just click on this line and that points as well. Let's give that a dimension of say 5 and check. There you have it. You can also do same for this one if you want to say 5 and check. All right. And so now I think everything is fine. We are left to place in the logo. To do that, let's click on image up here and bring it to the cell you want to place that image. So for me, it's here. I'll just click and locate the image on your machine. There I have mine. I'll open it and let's see. Now let's see, we can use these little dots on the corners of the image to resize it. Just locate them and click and drag to the size you deem fit. Now you can click and drag it inside the cell. There I have it. Now every detail is filled in here. Let's just finish and say yes. There we have it. Our title block is now neatly done. Just double click the scroll mouse button. Now let's turn our attention back to the base view. Once you see those dotted red lines, it means it is active. You can double click and edit from here. Now let's look at the style. For the style, we have three options here: the shaded, we have the hidden line removed, and the hidden line. You can choose any one of them. I'll turn off the shaded and only maintain the hidden line. Now for the view identifier, you can identify the base view as the front view if you want, or whatever view you deem fit to best explain your detailed drawing. Now for the scale also, we can choose any scale by dropping down the arrow, but I will keep 1:1.25, 1.25, which is okay for me. If you want the view identifier to appear, then you can toggle label visibility. You can also edit the label from here if you want to change the color, the font type, etc. and OK. Let's also take notice of the view cube here. You can use the arrows next to it to orient the base view as best as you deem fit for your detailed drawing. You can even get the isometric view with the home button here. But I'll keep these details and OK for now. If you want to replace this text here, you can just click once it turns red and drag it down. Next, we want to project the other views. For that, we move to the next icon here that says projected. Just click on that. Once you bring that in here, you can click on the base view. Since that is going to be the basis for our projection, we want to project the top view here. Just click once you have that place. We would also want the isometric view this way, and now we want another view right there. You can right click and create once you find that okay. We could also just double click here and use these arrows. Let me pan towards the right. Use these arrows you see next to the base view to place some more views if we want. So if we click on this, there we have one view. If we click down here, we'll also get another view, but we don't need that, so let's just cancel. Now we can also align these views. Let's see, when we click on the base view, we can drag it and notice how the views that are based on it are all aligned together with it and move as the base view moves along according to the direction it moves. We can also move this view if we want, but it will always be aligned with the base view. For the sectional view, it is independent. So once you hover your mouse on it, you would see this dotted red line. You can just click and use that to drag it in place. Now let's look at the next option, that is section. Before we go in there, make sure you click out here so you don't have the view 3 selected. Let's pick the section that is for creating sectional views. I'll click on that. Now let's locate the view we want to create a sectional view of, which is going to be this one. Now we can pick a reference point, so pick anywhere on this line. The midpoint will be fine, and let's drag that. We see those dotted lines. Just click and drag all the way down to divide that part into two. Now you right click and continue. You notice straight away that a view, a sectional view for that matter, has been generated. You can drag to place it right there. I have it. I'll click. I'll do same for the front view as well. Just click outside. Let's pick the sectional view, and now we want to section the front view. Also vertically, I'll pick my first point and the second point here. You right click, continue. You can drag to place it, and so here will be fine for me. Just click. Now we can align them better, so let me use this, drag it a little bit. Also drag that just enough so the work looks clean. Okay, and this as well. Next, we want to look at this option here that says detail view. Let's say we want to detail this hole. Now let's pick that command, detail. Let's pick the view we want to detail from, which is going to be this one. Now here we can change the view identifier. Let me just do capital H, meaning whole for me. And for the scale, I would do just 1:1 or even 1:2. For these two options, we've gone through them. If we want the label to show, we check this option. If we want to also change the font color, type, whatever, would use this option. I would turn this on. Now for the fence shape, that is how the cutout should look. I'm going to choose the circular. For the cutout shape also, let's pick the first one that says set cut edge as jack. Now let's locate the midpoint here. We click and drag. That is how I want the cutout to be. This much is fine. So I'll click again and drag. Now that is the cut I want. You can click to place it here once you find that okay. If you want to also increase the fence, you can use the dots on it. Just drag that open. That would increase it. If you want to reduce it also here, you can get that done. This is fine for me. Let's double click. Under the Place View tab, these four commands we've looked at are the most common you will be using: the base, the section, the projected, and the detail. Now let's move into the Annotate. Here we can dimension. Before we dimension, let me introduce you to these two commands here. The first one is the center line. If you want to put a center line anywhere, you just click on that. Now let's locate a point here on this line. There we go. Also another point here. There we have it. You can now click to place. Let's do same here from this point also to this point, and we click again to place. Now if you also have some holes, then we can use this option center mark, so we know the centers of those holes. Just click on that, locate the hole and click. Would also do same for this and that one. We see those little plus signs in there. Now we are ready to dimension. I'm going to show you three ways we can do that. The first one is with the dimension command. We can also use the baseline for dimensioning, and also this option here that says retrieve model annotations. Let's use the first one. Here you can just locate the line you want to apply the dimension to. So let's say it's this one. Just click, you drag, and you click again to place the dimension. You get this dialog box where you can make some edits, but I won't do that. Let's just okay. For circles also, you can just touch on it. Let's say this and drag. You can place your dimension. You can keep on doing this for all the lines and circles you have, but I don't usually like doing this, and so I'll take some few step backs. Control Z. Let's do Control Z and another one. Now we would use the baseline command. Here you will pick the baseline for which you want to apply the dimension. Let's say this one, we pick another line, also this and that. Once you are done picking the lines, you right click and continue, and you see the dimensions that are shown. You can click wherever you want to place it. Now let's do same for this sectional view. Let's pick the baseline here. We'll pick this line as well. Let's also pick that and that. You right click and continue. Now you take that down horizontally, so we get these dimensions. Just click, you right click, and done. The last dimension type is going to be the retrieve model annotations. That opens up this dialog box. Now let's pick the view we want to apply this model annotations to. That is going to be this one, and straight away we see those dimensions have been automatically placed. Let's apply, but there is a little bit of work we have to do here. Some of the dimensions are lying on top of each other. You can just use the arrows you see to drag. Let me do that. So just drag this out. You can also drag this, also that. Just do this manually until you get it perfect. Great. Another useful command I would like to point out is the one here that says hole and thread. In case you have any holes or thread, just select that. Now you click on the hole and see the details of that hole is given. So we have 7.80. The depth is 12 mm. Let's click there to place that. Now you can right click and OK. For this also, I would like to make some edits. Just double click on that. And now before the text, you can bring your cursor here and type 3 times so we know that there are 3 of those holes. You can OK. That modification has been made here. I've gone ahead to finish dimensioning. So we see these dimensions here and even there. Now, let's say you have aligned dimension. Let me use the distance between this circle and the center point here for this illustration. So I will select the dimension command. Let me pick this point and the midpoint here. Now I am getting either the horizontal or the vertical dimension, which isn't what I want. I want the aligned one. I'll just right click and go to dimension type and pick aligned. Now let's see, I have that aligned dimension. I can click to place that here. Let's OK. If you want to add a text anywhere, you can use the text command up here. You just click where you want to place the text and type whatever you want to put. I'll put all dimensions are in millimeters. There we have it. You can right click and OK once you are satisfied. You can also change the view of some of them. Let me use the isometric view. Just double click on it. Let me change the style to shaded and OK, so I get some color added to this work. I can also change the colors of these arrows. To do that, let's go into the manage and choose style editor. Now over here, we want to apply this change to the dimension, which is the arrow. There we see it here. I'll just click on the plus sign, go down to the default ISO, and here we have some tabs: units, alternate units, display. That is where I want to stop. Now for the color, I want to change that to blue. Let me OK. You can also change the weight of those arrows if you want and play around with some of the information here. Once you are done, save and close. Now we see the colors of those arrows have been changed. If you also want to change the colors of your text, you can do that under the style editor also. Still under dimensions, default ISO, let's locate text. Now pick the option, the pencil option here that says edit text style. You can change the color from here to any color you want. Let me do this one and OK. Now you can save and close. There we have the change in text. The last thing I want to show you is how to export this as a PDF file. To do that, let's go to Files and choose the option here that says Export. You would find PDF. Now here you select the folder where you want to save this PDF and you can save. Now let me open it as a PDF. Let's see how that looks. There it is here. I'll double click and there we go. All right. We have come to the end of this tutorial. In the next one, I will show you how to design a custom sheet template. And so we would design our own title block and even change the borders to our own desire. That is going to be it for today's tutorial. I hope this has been helpful. If it has and you haven't subscribed yet, kindly consider doing that. Also do well to like this video. If you'd have any comments, questions or contributions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. I would respond to them as soon as possible. Don't forget to share this with your card friends. I'll see you soon in the next tutorial. Bye.